Hello and welcome to the Wealth Wednesday show. We are super excited to see you and we trust that you are in good health. Today we are super excited to have an amazing guest in the house, Mr. Phil Bedford, who is a business coach and entrepreneurial development from Asentiv GCC. We shall be discussing on how to unlock your business potential, especially in this season where everybody has become a business owner either actively or passively. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on notification, and watch this video and share the link so that you and your friends can get to learn. As well, you may feel free to chat us up in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching this video from and what are your thoughts or what questions would you be having for today's show. Without taking much of your time, allow me to give Mr. Bedford the platform to introduce himself. Mr. Bedford, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are honored to have you with us. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi there, Sheila. Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Bedford. I'm known as the Rebel Networker. So I've lived in Dubai now for 23 years, but I'm actually from the UK originally. So I've run a number of businesses here, and the reason I'm here today is because my speciality is growing small businesses, particularly on limited funds.
Absolutely. I like the fact that you said growing small businesses, particularly on limited funds. We cannot overlook the fact that the pandemic has majorly affected small businesses more than you can imagine, especially financially. And this leads me to our first question. In your own words, how would you define business development?
I think business development falls into a number of categories, but probably the one that everybody thinks of is getting more clients, number one,
Mm-hmm,
or getting existing clients to buy more often.
mm-hmm,
It could also be other elements, which would also be increasing profitability, which could be a mixture of earning more clients and reducing costs. So basically, it's developing a business, but it tends to be involved with, and of course, staff development. But really, business development is more known as how do we get more clients to buy, and how do we get existing clients to buy more.
Oh, okay. That's really profound. And people tend to ask, then what's the difference between business development and sales? And what is the role of having business development as a department or segment to consider in your business?
Okay, so sales as opposed to business development. So sales means ultimately closing a new prospect into the business. So a client that didn't exist becomes a client, that's sales. Business development, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, could also be you have an existing client who buys more products or more of the same. And so businesses obviously have to focus on both sales to grow new clients as the business grows and needs more clients because a lot of clients leave, and also making sure you're caring for existing clients because also obviously if you can keep them, they buy more. And existing clients are much more cost effective to keep than it is to lose them and find replacement clients. So both are important, obviously.
Absolutely. Actually, losing a client, even just one client, can affect your whole business. And when you flip the coin, one client can become a walking advertisement. I have seen that with Financial Wellness Center, one satisfied client brought like 10 others, and those 10 brought more. So I think we need to really focus on keeping our existing clients uh, instead of losing them, and as well getting the business done. Now, as we started, you mentioned that you help small businesses, is, especially those that are operating under limited funds. And we all might have seen or experienced that small businesses often struggle to get clients, and and they even struggle to make sales sometimes. Now, what are some of the strategies you can share of running a successful business, increasing sales, and being able to create or build a strong pipeline?
Okay. So the interesting thing is there's only really two ways to find new clients. You can pay to get them, or you can get them for free. Right? So the reason I tend to focus on small businesses is because most small businesses tend to have limited funds. Okay, so they have to be very careful where they spend their money. And if they spend too much money in the marketing arena, then quite often they can go bust. By the way, I can also work with big business, and I have worked with very large companies in the past, Cartier, Hard Rock Cafe, numerous big businesses, but they don't tend to invest in the free side of marketing because they tend to have a lot of money to spend on marketing. Okay, so we can work with both. It's just the norm would be small businesses because they often have no choice. So you mentioned something earlier on about looking after clients and making sure that a happy client refers you. So that's one strategy, is to look after clients to get referrals. However, there's an interesting, this is one big delusion about happy clients. Most people think the best place to get referrals from is actually from their clients. And while it's good, here's a question. How many clients, even the people that are listening to this today, how many clients do you have you did a fantastic job for? You really looked after them, but they've never referred you. And you'll find there's a lot of clients you've done a brilliant job for, but they've never referred you. And so one of the biggest surprises is people think if I do a good job looking after my clients, they will refer me business, and most don't. Looking after your clients, make sure your client stays with you. But then we hope they refer us more business. To actually get existing clients to refer us more business, we have to be proactive in our ask. We need to actually go to our clients and ask them to refer us. And in fact, there was a brilliant study by Harvard Business Review where they studied, and they said they checked 100 clients. There was a couple of studies, but the one that actually, they said if they asked 100 people, only 11% would actually take action and refer them.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
And that's if you ask 100% of your clients. Now, in the financial services industry, a lot of people ask. Okay, they ask their clients, but in most businesses, nobody asks. So imagine what the reality is of getting referred from existing clients. It's almost nothing. But for most people, it's probably the only thing they get, because that's where referrals come from. So number one, we got referrals. Number two, you've got your own personal network, the people you know, the people in your telephone, your friends, your colleagues, the people you do sport with. You know, when you go to an event, you shake hands and meet people. That's networking. Okay. You've also got word of mouth. So word of mouth is what people say about you when you're not there, which is completely different to a referral, and it's completely different to your personal networking. We've also these days got social media, right? So not paid social media, but social media networking. So you see, getting business through relationships, and by the way, all this is free, right? Because there's no cost. It's just people. So there's so much potential out there for people to leverage the free side of marketing, but most people don't know all the differences. And as far as they go is hoping to get client referrals, or maybe going networking once in a while, turning up once and hoping to get business. And hope is not a strategy for business success.
I agree with you, and hope for sure is not a strategy for business success. You have to be strategic and intentional about it. And I think it was yesterday I saw a very interesting video that you posted about elevator pitching in an elevator. I think you need to talk a little bit about it now that you've said there's a difference between networking and creating relationships. Maybe you could highlight, because this elevator pitch has been, it's a theory that has been there for so long, and people try, and it kind of doesn't work, or you just don't get it right. What would you say about it?
Well, the whole point of an elevator pitch, and it is famous, you're absolutely right. And the whole concept was, if you were trapped in an elevator with somebody, could you sell yourself to them in a period of time? So it was a way of condensing what you did very briefly so they could understand. But the problem with elevator pitch, and this is why I don't like it, is it implies that you and I meet in an elevator and I just sell at you. Okay? Now, have you ever been to a networking event and you've met somebody, and all the time that you're talking, you don't get to talk, all they do is sell at you? Oh, I do this and I do that, and you need to buy from me, and you need that, and you're there going, ah! Do you know what I mean? So when somebody's selling at you, what do you really want to do? Do you want to buy, or do you want to run away?
Run away.
Run away, right? Okay, and and this is the thing, this is what people don't realize. So if you're going to sell with an elevator pitch, and you do that to everybody you meet, the chances are they just want to escape you. And if they want to run away, why would they buy from you? So this is really important. Networking is not selling. Networking is relationship building. The problem is, for most people, when they go networking, they do exactly what I said, which was, hi, buy from me. Hi, I'm brilliant. Let me find out what you need so you can buy it. And that's not networking. That's cold calling face to face. Right?
I was actually about to ask if it's the same as cold calling.
There you go, right? But the thing is, when you're on the telephone, you can just put it down. When you're in a networking event, you're like, leave me alone. Oh, I think I need to go to the bathroom, and you run away. And so that's not. So networking is completely different. What you've actually got to do is turn it around, right? So would you ever, for example, there's certain places in the world, but if you met a lady for the first time, or you met a man, would you just walk up to them and go, hello, marry me? I
would run away, actually.
So that's the thing. And what you're doing when you're cold calling at a networking event, that's what you're doing. You're going, hello, marry me, or hello, buy from me, right? And you don't do that. In the real world, what you do is maybe you smile, maybe you have a conversation, maybe you go and have a coffee, maybe you go to the movies. So in any relationship, it comes in stages. And what you're doing is you're watching each other saying, is this a good person? Can I trust them? Do they help me? And networking's the same. What we've got to do is we've got people to trust us, like us, see we're credible. And then what they do, they may buy from us. Once they start to see that we're not just selling, they may buy from us. But more importantly, this is the thing. If you look at me now and you guys say, okay, I want Phil to buy my product. You're only going to get one deal from me, which is when I buy that product. But how many people does Phil know?
Yeah.
Right? If I know 500, 1,000, 2,000, I may know 100 of your ideal client, 100 people who's your ideal client. Here's the thing. Instead of selling at me, where you might get a deal, probably not, how about instead finding out who I am, building some kind of relationship, proving to me that you're good at what you do. And then I might say, you know what? I know a load of people that could be good for you. How about I introduce them? But you see, that takes time. So what we've got to start doing, instead of looking at everybody like a golden egg, like everybody's the golden egg, we need to start looking at people like they're golden geese. How do I get so they can lay me lots of golden eggs? But what's important, of course, is I want to be your golden goose as well. So you're my golden goose and I'm yours. How much nicer is that when you've got two people helping each other rather than two people selling at each other? And that's the fundamental difference to networking. Networking is not cold calling face to face. 99% of people are getting it wrong.
Absolutely. And now you said, how can one put it? Because an elevator is less than a minute. So how would you put or ask someone and let them know what you do? Now that you said we shouldn't like tell them I do this, I do that. How should one put it?
Well, the most important thing you've got to remember is, okay, the elevator's an idea. You wouldn't really
Mm,
sell at somebody in an elevator, because if you did that so
mm,
intensely in an elevator, you'd probably come out the elevator having a fight, right? You really would come out, who's this?
mm,
Who's this weirdo? So it's not really the way. Normally, when you're at a networking event,
mm,
you're having a conversation.
mm,
Okay, so they will say to you, "What do you do?" and you'll say to them, what do you do?" Well, if it's a good conversation, you'll ask. But
mm,
here's the thing,
yeah,
and this is where other people mess up with their networking events.
mm,
You don't
mm,
go to an event just once.
mm, mm,
You have to go back to the event again and again. Because if you only go once,
mm,
how are they ever going to know what a nice person you are, build a relationship with you? The people that go to networking events once are the ones that are
mm,
selling. And what they do is they go there once, they don't get enough clients, so they go to the next event. And then they sell again and
mm,
don't get enough clients, so they go to the next one. We call this scorched earth networking. And
mm,
all you do is turn up and annoy everybody you meet and don't get results. So
mm,
take a step back. If you were to say to me, okay, Phil, tell me what you do, personally, I would say, okay, can I just ask you what you do for a second so I can get an idea?
mm,
So I let you talk to me
mm,
about you,
mm,
because here's the thing. You are the most important person in the world to you.
mm,
So when I let you talk about yourself and what you do, you will leave that conversation thinking I'm fantastic.
mm,
You just talked about you, right? So what I do is I let
yeah,
you talk about you. I ask you questions about you. I try and find out what
mm,
you need, any problems you've
mm,
got, anything you're trying to achieve. And here's the thing: if
mm,
I can help you with any of the things you need,
mm,
so maybe you said to me, "I'm looking for somebody to interview next week on my show, Phil." I said, "Well, as a
mm,
matter of fact, I know 3 really good people, and I'm happy to connect you."
mm,
You're going to think, I
mm,
can see your face now. You're like, "Oh, that Phil's a nice guy. What can I do for
yeah,
Phil?" You got me, right?
mm,
Because I tried to help you.
yes,
Now, when I've done that, you're going to say to me, "Oh, by the way, Phil, what do you do again?" But
mm,
now you're interested. You're
yeah,
not just saying it to be
mm,
polite. Now
mm,
you're interested.
mm,
And also, by asking you questions, Sheila, by asking you questions,
mm,
I know more
mm,
about you. So I know more about how I fit into your world.
mm, mm,
So ask questions. But networkers have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and they need to use them
mm.
proportionately.
Absolutely. Actually, when people are asked more about them, they feel more relaxed and they feel you are interested about them. Then, from what they say, then you can tailor your products or services or what you
You've
do
got it.
to suit their needs. Yeah. Otherwise,
Well,
they will run away from you.
run away.
And it's so devastating. So, to our audience, thank you so much for being with us right here. We are discussing on how you can unlock your business potential, and our guest speaker is Mr. Phil Bedford from Asentiv GCC. He is a renowned networker and business development coach who has won a number of awards. He's been on TDX to speak out on matters business. He is also an author. I hope he will be able to tell us more towards the end. And he just mentioned to us how you can make your elevator pitch more effective rather than making people want to run away. And the same applies to any networking event. One thing that stood out is in an elevator pitch or in any networking event, make the person talk more about them. Then um, customize what you want them to know about you to suit their needs, as well as consistency is key. Do not attend a networking event once and never attend again, then keep following up. and checking out other people. Consistency pays a lot and builds on your trust. Now we'll go to the next section, Phil. You know, there has been this theory, you need to do branding for your business, you need to do marketing. Now, between branding and marketing, which one should come first, and how does one go about it?
So a lot of this again comes down to what your budget is in terms of branding and marketing, right? So so here's the thing: your brand. I'm not a branding expert, okay? But what I've done is I've written a book called Branding Schmanding, because what I found was so many small business owners just didn't understand what branding was at all, and they didn't understand the difference between getting a logo and what their brand was. So a brand is ultimately is what people think of you when they see the name or hear your name or see it's from colors, it's from what you say, it's the way your staff react, it's how you want to exit the business. It's a really big dynamic, and to have a proper brand done for your business can be quite expensive. You know, you could be upwards of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 easily. Okay, what most people are thinking about with the brand is the logo. That's what most people are thinking about, okay? So it depends. I think what's more important is you've got to consider, you know, marketing is what pushes your brand out there. Okay, so marketing lets people know you exist. So let me put this in a different way. Imagine we're in the desert here, we're in Dubai. So imagine that you've just built the world's best shopping mall. Built a beautiful shopping mall, and you've put this shopping mall 50 kilometers in the desert, and you've had a massive branding thing done on it. So you've got all the logos up, and there's a great feel, and everything's done beautifully, but you forgot to build the roads. So you can't get there.
Yeah.
Right? So a brand is one thing. Letting people know about it is marketing. That's how you do that. And that can be done through word of mouth, referrals, website, SEO, TV, radio. So that's the marketing side. So again, you get experts in all the different fields, but I think just to keep it a little bit basic for the sake of today, what I would say to most people is, if you're going to be spending any kind of money on social media, any kind of money promoting yourself and your business, just make sure that when the person hears about you and they go online or they check out your social media, they find what you want them to find. Right? And I see too many people, especially now, you were saying earlier on, the world's changed. There's so much more now being done on the internet, right? And so I often sit on internet, like Zoom calls, and there's people on the Zoom call who are sitting in front of me telling me that they're marketing branding experts, right? And they're attending the Zoom call, sat in their car in a T-shirt with their hair a mess and an earphone. And I'm sitting there going, hold on, you're a branding marketing expert telling me that you run a successful business and this is the way you show up. If you're a branding expert, you're going to tell me you're someone who's really quality and you understand marketing and the power of marketing, please go back to your office, be there in time, prepare the background, be in a decent thing that represents your business, and then tell me you're a branding marketing expert. Because it's all about touches. Every time I hear your name, every time I see you, what I see online, your clothes, the way you make me feel, all of that makes me want to either buy from you or not buy from you. And the interesting thing is people will spend a fortune on their brand, a fortune on their website, and then turn up on Zoom calls in a mess. And it's completely the opposite to what they're saying. And in the real world, people will do it as well. They'll say they're fantastic. They'll say they're trustworthy. They'll say they're the best. And then they won't turn up on time. They'll miss meetings, won't return phone calls, won't return emails, and they're not nice to talk to. So again, it's completely the opposite to what people are doing. So, you've got personal brand, you've got business brand. But the thing is, particularly if you're talking about a small business owner, we are our brand. We are the business. When we're not working, we're still our brand. Everybody we see associates us to our brand. And when we meet people in the real world, we're actually marketing. We're marketing ourselves, but we don't realize it. So I know I went a little bit off on a tangent there, but it's, brand and marketing is a massive subject, and there are global experts around. What I tried to do is just simplify it a little bit, maybe for people who are considering their brand. So what I would encourage people to realize now is that for the first time ever, kids have a brand.
Yeah.
Right? All these kids on Instagram and Facebook and all that, they are branded. That's why they're so conscious about their image, because they realize they're branded. They've got images. But what they don't realize is everything they're saying, everything they're doing is online now forever.
Correct.
And all this,
correct.
Yeah. When I was a kid, all the great stuff I was doing, no one ever saw. It's gone. It's in here. No one can ever catch me, right? But now they're in trouble. It's all online, and it's a new world. People need to realize that people are watching.
Absolutely. I was actually speaking with one of the digital experts the other day, and he was saying, people forget there are digital footprints. So whatever you say, you might delete it, but the footprints remain there, and some people can access that. So it's important to for everyone, not just business owners, to be very keen on what we share online. What do you want to communicate, especially the branding part? I like the fact that you've said you as a person, you are a brand, and anything you do online, people associate you with the business that you do. You cannot come to convince a person that you are opposite. When they check you online, you are a whole different thing. And there's one thing you said that I just got it, is marketing pushes your brand forward. So that is like the difference between the two, because it has created a lot of confusion, especially for small business owners who are like, branding, I'm doing branding, I'm doing marketing. So I think that one has brought clarity regards to that subject matter. So now we go to the question of the day, or what I know you for, and it's networking. We've seen people attending events, and after the event is done, there is no outcome, or it's not effective. So how would you advise people to be able to network effectively?
Okay, so again, it's this goes for offline as well as online. Okay, the same rules apply. Okay, but there's a number of reasons why people aren't effective networking. Number one, they're selling. Number two, they don't know how to explain what they do with clarity so that the other person understands. Most people are subject matter experts. They know their business inside out. And when they try and explain what they do, they go into a lot of detail. And the other person hasn't got the knowledge to understand what that is. So we've almost got to imagine it's actually a skill. When someone says to you, tell me what you do in 20 seconds or a minute, it's actually a learned skill. And most people don't have it, again, because they go into too much detail. So it's almost like, if I had to give you a tip, imagine you were explaining it to a 6-year-old child. Okay, try and simplify what you do to a 6-year-old child, and there's every chance the other person will understand it. Okay, right. So that's one. People don't know how to explain what they do. All right. The other thing we mentioned earlier on, people don't go back to the same event again, because if they don't get a deal straight away, they go somewhere else. Right, and that's not networking. So again, people aren't networking; they're selling, which is another reason they're not successful. Right. Then you've got the next one. So there's a many reasons. I spend hours explaining why people don't get it right. The next one is because when people leave the event, they don't follow up with the people they met. Okay.
That is
true. And the other thing is to follow up in an appropriate manner. So what I mean by that is, if you and I have a deep conversation, and in our conversation, you turn around and say, hey, Phil, look, I'm really looking to pick up a game, play tennis. And I follow you up. I say, oh, by the way, great meeting you the other day. Here's that tennis coach I promised you. I followed up in an appropriate manner. If you and I had a conversation, you said, hey, Phil, I really want to grow my wealth business. Please, can we have a conversation? Then I'll follow you up and say, okay, let's have a chat. That's appropriate.
Yeah.
If you and I had a conversation and we didn't talk about sharing business, we didn't do anything else, I would follow up and say, lovely to meet you. I look forward to meeting you next time. Finish. I do not say, lovely to meet you. Here's everything I sell. That wasn't appropriate. So following up has to be done, but it has to be done appropriately. And here's the other thing. These days, here's a nice little tip for you. Within 24 hours of meeting the person, follow up by email or whatever, right? Follow up. Within 48 hours, make sure you've connected on LinkedIn. Or if appropriate, on Facebook. You just got to be a little bit cautious because Facebook's personal. So you can look a little bit creepy if you follow up on Facebook in the wrong way. Whereas LinkedIn's professional, right? And then if you agree that you want to have a meeting, follow up within 7 days.
Okay.
So what you do is you follow up in different ways depending on what's been agreed. But if there's nothing that comes from it, at least connect on LinkedIn. Say how nice it was to meet them. Because once you've connected on LinkedIn, you then get access to each other's second tier, which means more people might know you exist.
Oh, yeah. That's a
But whatever
tip
you do, follow up. And that's the great thing about social media that did not exist before. Before, you followed up or didn't follow up, that was it, finish. Now you can connect on LinkedIn or Facebook, which means at least you stay visible to them. Even if you don't meet them, you may stay visible with each other in the future, which might generate more opportunities. But then, of course, you've got to make sure your LinkedIn profile is professional. Otherwise, no one wants to connect.
That is very true. Sometimes you check certain LinkedIn profiles and you're not even able to tell what really this person does or who this person is because their LinkedIn is a bit not clear. And I love the fact that you said follow up appropriately. I have had the opportunity to attend certain events and they ask you, you sign up with your email address and the next thing you see is a lot of emails with ads coming from, all over. And, in as much as it is a way of communicating what you're selling or what you'd want me to do, I think if you follow up and give me like a personal touch, then from there we can build on that. And now you can now send me all your ads. It would be more better and effective. Now, Phil, there has been, there's something you mentioned that people will focus more on the relationship you build with them. And from that relationship, they can now be able to even open up opportunities for you or recommend you or, talk about you and remember you. Now, what is relational marketing and what are some of the best practices one should consider, especially as an entrepreneur?
Okay, so relationship marketing actually is the summary of all the things I mentioned right at the beginning, which is the different strategies for getting introduced. So word of mouth, referrals, networking, direct prospecting through relationships, social media, collaboration. All these things are marketing yourself through other people. Right? And that's the thing. We can market our business with money or we can market our business through people. The thing is with people is it requires them to understand and be motivated.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want, so let me ask you. So Sheila, if I was to, you know, when this COVID thing's gone away, you and I can meet up and have a cup of coffee, right? So,
Sure.
you know, if we sit down and have a cup of coffee and I buy you a cup of coffee, we have a lovely chat. Next time we meet, what are you going to do? You're probably going to offer me a cup of coffee.
True.
Right? Because as human beings, when somebody does something for us, we need to find balance. Right? So, but imagine, Sheila, if I bought you a cup of coffee the first time, and then the second time we meet, I buy you lunch. Right, what sort of food do you want? No, but you're starting to think, hold on. You've done too much. I need to do something.
Yes.
Right? So what we've got, you look at the other person almost like an emotional bank account. If I've done things for you, maybe I just gave you a lift, maybe I gave you some advice, maybe I connected you to somebody. But if I've done 2, 3, 4 things for you, you're like, Phil, stop. I need to do something for you.
True.
So imagine now if you're doing all this great stuff, if you're paying it forward, if you're giving to the people around you, and guess what? They're also highly connected. People with the same kind of mentality of you, which is helping. They know your potential clients. They can help you solve problems. Now what you're doing is surrounding yourself with a high-powered network of people that you've helped. What's going to start happening when you need help?
They will help.
They're all going to show up for you, right? So, but the thing is, you've got to start the ball rolling. You've got to start by giving to other people. Now, if you've got this, and the funny thing is, I hear so many people saying to me, oh, but you know, the problem is, Phil, everybody will, they want to help, they want to give me clients, but they all want referral fees. Or they want this, but they want money, right?
Yeah.
If that's the people, but if that's the people you're around, it's because you've made a decision to be around that kind of person. What you've got to do is find a different kind of network of people that just want to help each other. And that's why I love what I do, by the way. My communities, the communities of entrepreneurs I built, are all trying to help each other to succeed in business, but they do it because they want to help each other. And that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Actually, from the session I had, honestly, I've never met such a group of passionate people who are willing to help you, not with us anything attached, but to just see your business going forward. And I must commend you for the great foundation you've built.
Thank you.
So yeah, this brings us to the end of the of today's episode. And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your presence and support. I believe you have learned quite a number of things from Mr. Phil Bedford, and you are going to put them into action, not just for your business, even in your personal life. Make yourself visible and memorable in a good way so that you can be able to live an effective and intentional life. So as we come to the end, if anyone has a question, you can post in the chat box and we will be able to answer it. Now, Mr. Bedford, maybe you could share with us about your company, what you do, how people can get to you, and about your books.
Yeah, so I represent a company in this region called Asentiv, which is a global company, and I'm the Master Franchisee in the GCC, which is the Gulf Corporation Council. So that's the countries of the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. And what I'm actually looking for is, oddly enough, people just like myself to do the same thing in those other countries. So if you know any people that are looking to start their own business and they want to find a good product, get them to give me a call. But I'm also an author. I've written a number of books. Most of them are either on networking or small businesses. And what I did is I listened to what people are confused about, what their biggest problems were, what they were confused about, and then just wrote books on the subject. So a number of different books, which are all on Amazon, by the way, under my name. So you can get them all there. And I'm just about to release 2 online courses. one called the
Oh.
7 Deadly Startup Sins, and the other one called
Mm-hmm.
the Millionaire Networker. So both of them are going to be available as courses online in the next couple of days.
Wow. That's super amazing. So if anyone wants to get you, they can check out Asentiv website, right?
They can, or also my personal networks website is probably the better one, which is therebelnetworker.com.
Mm.
Therebelnetworker.com. And that's where all my books and everything is quite easy to find, as well as my courses. Or you can just connect with me on LinkedIn, Phil Bedford. I'd love to connect with anyone on this show, and I'd also love to know what your biggest takeaway was. That would be a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for coming again to give us your time for free. We really appreciate, and we believe. Personally, I have learned a lot, and my takeaway is remain memorable and be intentional. Don't just do things because everyone is doing them. Be intentional about it. And I believe most of the things you've shared here, we are gonna put them into action and be able to bring some testimonials to you later on. So this brings us to the end of the show. Thank you once again for tuning in. Ensure you have subscribed by clicking the link below and turn on notification. Watch the videos and share them out as much as possible. Until then, we hope to see you next week and take care. Bye.